What up, though, Pride Nation? Welcome back to another Lukegsfieldreview podcast show where we talk all things football and only football. I am beyond excited because I love having people on who talk football with me and who enjoy talking football as much as I do. And so I asked somebody to come on who I know knows his stuff. One of the reasons I wanted him on because not only does he know his stuff, his team happens to be in a similar situation as our Detroit Lions, and guess what, people? Our Lions beat his team. Barely. We'll talk about that and more. But today's special guest today, people, is Mr. Lieutenant Dan, Mr. Unintentional Grounding himself. What's going on, Lieutenant Dan?
How's it going, Luke? You doing you got the little undercuts, the jokes out of the way, my man?
Hey, listen.
You good?
You know what's funny? That Lions game that we won, I took a lot of heat for saying that the Lions were gifted to win versus we actually won. And people felt that, they had to still march down and score. And I said, right, but before we get there, the only call that could have been made and should have been made was take a knee. And the coach blew it, period, point blank. So no, I felt that Raheem Morris, a guy that because I like the Bucks, a guy that I was happy when the Bucks got rid of. I think he played y'all with that. All he had to do was take a knee. The whole idea of him saying that I have to call a run play to get my kicker lined up and then run the ball the opposite way of getting your kicker lined up in the middle didn't make sense to me.
I think that just looking at that game as a whole, you could tell that the team has been checked out for weeks. And so as a Falcons fan and just as somebody who follows the team and, puts time and effort into, doing the research on them, this team as a whole is just there's no level of it that hasn't been just an atrocity. But the layers and layers of how we got here just kind of is like it's too deep. It's way too deep.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're going to get into a lot of things. Greg Charlie says you didn't never check your IG DMs, Luke. What is your IG name? I generally check my messages when I see them. So what is your IG name, Greg Charlie? And then we'll get into it. Right at the gate, people, we are going to be discussing some Falcons. And because I think that the Falcons and the Lions have a similar parallel to each other. And right at the gate, we got to talk about the coaching vacancy because we are both in search of at Greg Gotti. I never got anything from you. Like my Instagram is directly linked on the video and my other videos. I've never got a message from you. And on my picture, you will see that it's the same picture with the urns folded and everything. So if you sent it, I would have responded, but I never got anything from you. All right, but the first question is and this is just me posting it out here to you, Lieutenant Dan, because I want to talk about this, which is, of all the teams with a head coaching vacancy, which do you think has the most attractive position?
Man, I honestly, as of now that we know that the Houston Texans have the Patriots. Basically the Patriots GM. Now that we know that is in Houston, I think that is the most attractive job right at this very moment, which puzzles me completely as to why Eric Bieniemy, as of right now, hasn't interviewed with the Texans. So I wonder if there's something they know that we don't know, or if Bieniemy doesn't want to be there. That being said, though, if I am a head coaching candidate and I'm looking for a job with a quarterback that's going to be there for a while, an offensive line that is flexible and moldable, a defense that needs a little work with some aging stars, but has quite the potential and definitely full control over how they want their system to be with such an athlete that they have at QB. That is the most attractive job. Looking at all the other jobs, though, I think maybe the Chargers would be another really good get if you're, another young QB situation, and honestly, a team that should be in the playoffs right now. Should be in the playoffs with the current roster. Not a lot has to be done there except for coaching decisions, like just good clock management there in San Diego. So that's another good spot, honestly. Those are really prime places to go.
Yeah, I think to me the most sexiest position, like I have to like put myself in it. And if I was a head coach looking for a place to go, mine will boil down to what gives me the most freedom and what gives me the best opportunity to get my vision done. And to me, I do look at the Chargers as that team. I think you can get a lot done with that team as a sexy pick. I think the reason you see with the Texans not being so sexy is because with the Texans, it's like, yeah, you got Deshaun Watson, but you got so much more work to do, and you don't got a first round pick. so it's like.
I mean, I understand the whole first round pick narrative, but if you have currently the GM that has been helping bring the talent to New England, or at least one of the integral parts of the piece of getting things and talent into New England for the past couple of years, now in Houston, you can work with those second round picks and those third round picks and those fourth round picks. And I know you're probably laughing and going, oh, come on, the second and third round picks, Dan. We need that first round pick. Let's remember who your past two GMs were and what their record was with bringing guys from round 2 to round 7 into the team and making them work. You had Bill O'Brien and you had the dude Smith, I believe, who is currently trying to get a job in Atlanta at this very point in time. And he hit on all his first round picks, but couldn't hit on any of his second, third, or fourth round picks.
True.
So with a real GM there, you can work with this. This is doable.
Yeah, but those situations are so much more different. I mean, even right here, right? Like the real Patman says the Rams haven't had a first round pick in the past 4 years and haven't skipped a beat. Because they took all their first round picks and they're trying to manage cap. They're trying to manage cap by not taking those first round picks. That's one thing. It's one thing where you're coming into a team that needs rebuilding. And it's funny when I say that because people say, well, you don't say rebuild the Lions, but why does the Texans need to rebuild? They need receivers. They need running back. They need offensive linemen. They need defense. They need it. And so that's a lot. They don't have a lot of key foundational pieces outside of the quarterback.
Well, can I actually really quick, Luke, jump back onto some of our stuff that we're talking about right now? Like,
go ahead.
What the Lions and the Falcons have in common? They have in common the same thing that the Houston Texans have in common. That the coaching staff is literally about to change. There are some pieces that are nice on all of their teams, but for the Texans, it's quarterback. For the Lions, it's what is it? What is it, Luke? What's one attractive thing with the Detroit Lions?
In all honesty, I think it's Matthew Stafford. It has to be Stafford. The fact that you got Stafford, the fact that you got a running back that's already in place, and you got 3 linemen that are going to be here that can do their job. Plus, whatever image you want to place upon this team, this is your canvas. Be free. Like I don't see how. Like, and in case people are wondering, we're talking about the attractive spots, but then we jumped a little ahead in terms of what they have in common, and for me, when talking about what these teams have in common, especially with the Falcons, I think that the lack of leadership from top to bottom is lacking, and we both have quarterback situations where they got nice contracts. I'm not gonna kill them. I think one is worse than the other. and Matt Ryan, but there are pieces that you can work with. Like, it's not like this team is too far off.
Okay, Luke, I got okay. Do you think the Lions are not too far off?
Yeah, I think they're not too far off. I think that
you think the same thing about the Atlanta?
I do.
You don't think that about Houston?
No, and I'm gonna tell you why. Houston is getting ready to one. They got David Johnson. Obviously, I like David Johnson, but that's not nobody. It's not sustainable. And then two, Fuller's going to be a free agent. So now that creates another situation in and of itself. They still want better tight end play. They still want better receiver play. They still want better offensive line play. That was a horrible trade that they took with what's the guy name? Larry Tunsil. I hope I said his name right. With that guy. And then you go through the defense. J.J. Watts has already basically said, I'm going to blitz everything about this team until they do what I want and what I want to get done. And at the end of the day, he still is willing to get the hell on. And then you go from him to just next person up is Zach Cunningham. Okay. And then Marcellus Wiley Whitley or whatever his name is. It's not the same.
What I'm saying is, like, I'm trying to say that, yeah, it might be somewhat attractive to have a veteran QB where you are. Matthew Stafford is a shell of himself as of right now. And I'm not saying that a good offensive line couldn't make that a little bit better. Some better play calling could relieve the ball from him a little bit and allow him to flourish instead of get absolutely smashed every play. But, like, I don't think what the Falcons and the Lions have in common are quarterbacks that are movable. And if you look at Matthew Stafford's contract going into 2021, there is an out there in 2021 right now. And I know you've probably already gone over this number a million times with your viewers and told them, the reasons why this contract is probably better and friendly. But this is a contract that can be moved after June 1, just like with the Atlanta Falcons, with Matt Ryan's contract is another contract that can be moved after June 1, which opens the door to the reason why both of these jobs are actually things that you would want to go after or something that is attractive to you, and something they both have in common is that they are teams that probably need quarterbacks of the future before these guys are out. So you probably have about a year or two availability.
Which I agree with. I agree with that.
To go into the draft and also win with these guys.
I agree with that, but I also look at it and I say that for the Lions fan, that's the most Lion thing you can do. If to move Matthew Stafford, draft a quarterback, the question now becomes who's our quarterback. And in the case of the Falcons, I think y'all still got a pretty sizable cap hit, even that's a June 1st cut. And I think it would be a mistake to just decide to say, you know what, out with Matt Ryan, bring in a new quarterback and unleash him. No, this is what they've been doing. And then these quarterbacks start to come in and have somewhat decent success. Then they demand a big contract and everything fall apart around them. Rather than do it that way, why not let the guy ease into it a little bit more? And then once you let them ease into it, you can build up around that talent.
Okay,
right?
Well, I challenge that view by saying that a guy like a Matt Ryan had to immediately be their guy from day one in 2008. In 2007, the Falcons didn't have a QB.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And then they went into 2008, drafted Ryan, and said, day one, you got to be our guy. That's it.
But listen, we agree. We agree on that part. But what I think it gets different is this. Matt Ryan is the guy that he didn't have. And so now, just because he had to come in, just like how Stafford had to come in 2009 as a first overall pick and be the guy, just because they had to come in and be that does not mean we got to keep following that same blueprint. We can do something
but
different.
You're not going to get Aaron Rodgers every time you sit somebody, or Pat Mahomes every time you sit somebody behind Brett Favre or an Alex Smith.
That's facts.
And that's trying to catch lightning in a bottle in a different way. So there's two versions of playing a quarterback through the draft. One of those is you sit a guy behind him, hopefully he learns to be that next guy, and then fling him out there and say, all right, you've got like 2 years to impress me before I chuck you out and get you out of here because you've only got a 5-year deal.
Yeah,
versus day one, throw him out there. If he fails immediately, you failed. If he doesn't fail, or at least you were able to successfully put something around him to keep him from failing, and he matures, then bam, you've got a guy. Either way is both a risk. And currently in the way that the Falcons are made, and currently the way that the Detroit Lions are made, both of those teams, you invited me on the show not too long ago, actually. And we talked about cap. Your team, after looking at it, you could blow up everything on that team easily, just like you could easily blow up the entire Atlanta Falcons. They're both similar situations that are, you could build short term and win a couple of games to try to get one Super Bowl, or you could blow the whole thing up and start from scratch if you wanted to, or with bits and pieces.
Yeah, but the difference is this. You're right in saying that just letting them sit don't mean you're going to get these certain types of things. That is definitely 100% true. But to also tossing them to the fire, we've seen what happens. And so when you're tossing them to the fire, it takes a very special talent to survive that fire. Now, the Falcons' history is definitely not like the Lions in terms of what the Lions have been doing over the last decade. It's nowhere near like that. However, if they did certain things different, where they turn around and instead of saying, okay, yeah, I can just toss them to the fire because there's no guarantee with this, here's what I do know. There's a guarantee that you're going to lose money in trying to move either of those players. There's a guarantee that the money that you're losing could be used to put people around that guy that you take to replace them. And so to me, if you're going to get a guy to replace them, let them be the bridge. And then when it's the year after where the cap hit is less, at least in Stafford's situation, it's a lesser hit. I didn't really look at Matt Ryan's cap pass this year. But once you do that, then you can do it. See, to me, it's a Lions move to get the quarterback and then just say, you know what, toss him out, new guy to the fire. We've been doing that 17 quarterbacks in, and it's not working. And so the last time that we had success, the guy was able to sit in 91, came in when the guy was hurt, and he has small success. And so these are the things that I look at in terms of history pattern. But you did bring up a point that I thought about, which was, setting things up and stuff. So, and moving the capital. So now I guess I'm gonna jump this to a little bit different one, because now John Elway is saying that he is stepping down as the Lions general manager, which means that brings Denver into the fold for general manager. How do you see that affecting the Lions and the Falcons?
I think that doesn't really have a major effect. I think there's already a type of GM prospect or hireable guy that will want the Denver job, but I think most people see through the guise of the current resignation promotion that John Elway just gave himself. And so to me, I look at the Denver Broncos as John Elway is going to tell you what you need to tell the head coach as far as a GM perspective. So smart GM prospects will look at that, see the guys, and go, unless he gives me full control of what I need to do about player personnel and he backs away, then that job is not attractive to me. And it's going to keep the Falcons and the Lions more attractive. Because I will say this, and I'm not trying to say that this is not a disrespect thing, but I don't think the Falcons or the Lions jobs are necessarily very attractive, because they have their own flaws and their own ways. And there are teams that are above them, namely, we both agreed on the Chargers. Houston is another one we may disagree on, but I think they're ebb and flow with some of these. That gives those particular teams or front office jobs more freedom, even the Jets job is a very interesting kind of look. If you want to say that gig over there could be very successful for you if you have the right people in there, in the right building,
It's funny because we didn't talk about this question beforehand. So I thought you was going to say something different. I really did, but I thought the same thing you thought. And that is basically that. What is it? Audio. What is this saying? Okay, I don't know if they said with the audio, but I was thinking the same thing you was thinking. Like, is John Elway really going to let a general manager sit up there and make all the calls? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm a GM, I'm looking at it like, no, it's too hard for him to relinquish that when he already know that they're kind of looking at him and saying, hey man, we love you as a player. Yes, you are a Hall of Famer for us. You in our Ring of Honor. We love us some you, but the GM skills have not netted us what we thought we would have had. And so to me, when I look at that, I'm arguing the point of like how you argue. Why would a general manager want to go there? So in terms of how it affects the Lions, I don't think it affects them at all. Because like you said, coming like we ain't always the sexiest pick, but at least you're going to have your freedom. There's not going to be somebody over your head, like second guessing you, telling you don't do this, don't do that, every step of the way. That's not going to happen. So I actually thought you was going to say something totally different. So it was surprising that you kind of saw and had the same take that I had. That I don't know if he will relinquish that power fully. You know what I mean? Like, would that be something that he would do? Jags are less attractive. I think the Jags are more attractive for two reasons. It's in Florida, and everybody loved that tax thing that they got going over there. Two, it's in Florida. I mean, let's be honest. And then three, it's in Florida. Like, I'm not trying to be. You already got the first overall pick. It's your world, and the expectation isn't going to be for you to win immediately this year, but show signs of improvement. So I think they're still more attractive than people think. What do you think, Lieutenant Dan?
The Jags job to me is not very attractive at all. I mean, you've got Trevor or you've got Fields this coming year. But then what offensive line is in front of that? And then you get down to the weapons and it's like half of them are injured multiple, days in the year. And, the defense is in shambles. The ownership is good. The ownership's good. They give you anything you want. But that's also like a problem. They give you anything you want. They don't make smart decisions sometimes. So, the way that I look at it is if I was looking at all the GM jobs and head coaching jobs, and I had my pick of the litter, I would probably pick, say, the Detroit job or the Atlanta job or the New York job. I would definitely pick the job in LA. I would, without question, and maybe even Houston. Basically all the openings before I go to Jacksonville, because Jacksonville is an absolute nightmare. You don't even know if the first 5 years of Trevor Lawrence being there is going to be one that's healthy and that you can even get the right pieces around Trevor or Justin Fields to have them even get into a second contract or it be worth for you to be in a second contract with them. So it's like, it's a double-edged sword there, unless you are able to dramatically and drastically, improve the team at its very core. Then no, absolutely not. That is somebody needs to be in there for a temp job, do kind of well, and then you get rid of them for the guy that you actually wanted, and he finishes off the job for you.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me switch gears a little bit. Who do you have as your top head coach and general manager candidates right now?
Man, that's tough. There's a lot of guys out there that don't necessarily just blow me away with what they can do. But one guy that I really, really am keeping my eye on is Arthur Smith, who has already had a interview with Atlanta. He's been the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans, and been with the Titans since 2011. Has been an tight ends coach with them, and really just a tough, blue collar, tough nosed guy. Loves running the ball. You see the offense that they actually have on the field over there in Tennessee. It's a powerful run game, and very attractive from a passing game. Actually, that more or less, actually, a guy that I know in real Pat Man was actually sharing some stats with me. And he was talking to me about how Derrick Henry off the field makes the Titans offense even scarier, and how statistically they're better with Derrick Henry off the field. And we know how scary Derrick Henry is on the field. Do I expect the same level of dominance if Arthur Smith were to come to Atlanta? No. But building that frame, or building some semblance of that frame, would make me very, very excited. And then GM, I honestly don't have a GM candidate that I'm necessarily really attracted to, or I have some semblance of knowledge about, because the GM to me right now could be anywhere from a yes man to some radical thinker. But as long as they have a tough-nosed football coach in Atlanta to change the culture of the team as a whole, then I could care less, honestly.
You know what's funny? When it comes to the head coaches, the guy that I want, I don't know why more NFL teams are not going after him, and that's David Shaw. Like, I just think David Shaw in the NFL would be like an amazing coach. I know he would. I could just see it. Like, I don't know how he's winning in Stanford with all the restrictions and all the different things he got to deal with in Stanford. He's not getting the top of the top recruit because they probably not academically eligible. Yet they're still performing. I don't understand this. But just out of the ones who are still available, that I look at, I think my Lions are going to sign Robert Saleh. I think they're going to sign him because he's from Michigan, and the Lions like to do stuff like that, bring people who from here back. But to me, if I can do this over and I can hire a head coach and that I would be okay with as my top candidate, boy, they finna get mad at this one right here. In all honesty, if I could just have one, I hate to say it, but I would probably go with Jim Harbaugh, just based on my criteria. I want somebody with experience, and I want somebody who has shown that they've had the luxury of building a program. He's built a program with the 49ers. He's built a program with Michigan. Even though Michigan fans don't quite see it, just go back to the Brady Hoke days, the Rich Rod days, and then we can talk about it. I just want us to get it there. Now, in terms of Gene says, why would David Shaw want to come to the NFL? For the same reason why most people do things. Money, money, money. That's why. It's that almighty dollar. Plus, you're going to get more. You're going to get more of it. That's the reality of it. Now, general manager, because this is the name that a lot of Lions fans keep tossing out to me, which is Louis Riddick. And so I'm gonna leave that one for the next question. But for me, the general manager candidate that I think is the top one for me, there's two of them. I got a 1A and a 1B. Dodds from the Colts, because their experience is not there like I would want. But the second one is Dorsey. Dorsey to me is the top, is 1A. Dodds is 1B. I think the Lions are going to take Thomas Dimitroff. I can feel it. I can feel it in the air tonight. And dude, I swear, listen. Everything. When they talk, the more they talk, the more I get irritated because I can decipher what their thought process is, and they keep talking about getting people who are, they keep talking about getting people who are so experienced at this spot. And I went through and looked at all the candidates that they talked to. None of them are more experienced than him. None. None. None of the people they talk to are more experienced than him. It just scares me, and I think they're gonna take him. And I'm like, I ain't gonna kill him, but I'm just not gonna be too excited neither. But that brings me to my next question, because who is those head coaches and those general managers that you got that, you got that stay away from? Just stay away from them no matter what you do. No team should really be considering them. Who is that head coach and general manager tandem for that?
I would be very, very wary of Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator currently for the 49ers, with multiple first-round picks, by the way, on his defensive line, and just a wealth of talent that he's gotten to work with. His scheme is simplistic. It is basically a carbon copy of Dan Quinn. It is very talent-driven. It's a talent-driven system. So unless you are putting direct talent to it, it's not going to work. And then as a GM, Louis Riddick, what has he done for you outside of make terrible mocks all the time?
Wait, go ahead, because
I'm just saying
we on the same page.
Hey, the takes he has had, and regardless of what team he talks about, the takes he has had have been venomous and spiteful. I don't want somebody working for my organization who already has preconceived notions about who I am or my fan base or anybody else. Someone who is obviously not a very open-minded person, that makes bold claims and statements without, actually doing any real research into it, and who honestly is not very impressive as someone who worked for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Don't eat him like that.
more or less just someone that was there while other real grown men were doing work. So I like the flex. I really do. Lewis, you putting your name out there, trying to get that, as Luke G would say, that almighty dollar, holla holla. But yeah, no, that's not funny. It's not funny at all. Yeah. I want nothing to do with him.
Dude, you're not alone. I have been trying to stress to people, particularly the Lions fan base, the Pride Nation, that Louis Riddick is not the answer. And the first thing I gave him was, how is he more qualified than any other candidate? Like right now, if you look at him, you can have him or Dorsey.
What has he been doing? He's been an announcer,
an analyst, a supposed draft analyst,
offhand comments.
And on top of that, one of my issues with Louis Riddick, when I look at him, is when everybody talk about, oh, he did so good for the Eagles, and I'm like, what? I'm like, maybe I'm looking at a different person. I can't explain this stuff. I'm just telling you what I hear. Okay, people, listen, hold on, let's see, look. Let me show you. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I bet you there's somebody in here who's team Louis Riddick. I guarantee you. Like it's somebody in here who's team Louis Riddick. Now Pioli's another guy I understand why y'all would want to stay away from, But Louis Riddick to me I look at it like this. Think about whoever your top woman is, like your crush. If your crush is like, say, Halle Berry, right? Or Charlize Theron, right? Somebody like that. And then the person that you think is just absolutely hideous and ugly, whether that be like Melissa McCartney or, I don't know, Leslie Jones or something, right? Whoever you come up with, that would be like picking the ugly chick over your crush. Okay? That would be like picking the ugly chick over your crush. And to me, it's ridiculous. Louis Riddick is that stay away person for me. I'm not impressed with him. The resume not long enough. Had the stuff he talked about scares the hell out of me. And then on top of it, with the head coaches, the one guy that I want to stay away from, like no matter what, I don't care, is Eric Bieniemy. He's the one guy I want to stay away from, because the more I look at Eric Bieniemy, I already can see that here in Detroit. Now I don't know, he might be okay in Atlanta, right? But in Detroit, with our history.
Can I pause for a second?
Go ahead.
Can I pause? I see a couple people in the chat just catching up to the part about how you made the comparison of Halle Berry and all that good stuff. I just want to say, everybody in here, Unintentional Grounding, Lieutenant Dan is Team Gal Gadot. Okay, so y'all can
Wonder Woman?
y'all can try to join my bandwagon, but you can stay right the hell off. The Team Gal Gadot is right here, and y'all can all stick it. Stay on your own bandwagons. I'ma stay on mine. Thank you very much.
You going with Team Wonder Woman? I mean,
I'm going, bruh.
Oh man,
have you seen her in uniform? Get out. Be gone. Get gone. I don't need no disrespect over here.
Oh man, listen, I'm not knocking you. Like, you know, I have my crutches and stuff, but I just didn't see that one coming. That was straight out of left field. He said, "Yeah, I'm going Team One." I know people was looking like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Oh, so he said
I don't want no pillow feather. Okay, I don't want no soft lady. I want someone who could protect me. Damn it!
That's what you want.
I want somebody to be like,
right?
You talk some smack about my husband online. I'm gonna rip your throat out right now. I'm gonna just put you in the grave. 6 feet.
313 J-Bo say it's making good, man. Making good, yes, boy. And Margaret Robbie, that's Harley Quinn, right? That's the actress that played Harley. Oh, she was in Wolf of Wall Street too. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He said, I don't want no pillow feathers. I need somebody to rip your throat. But that's how I view.
I want some of that good 5'10".
Oh my God.
Israeli combat vet, AK-47, kick you with the butt of my shoe in my life. Thank you.
Oh my God, I am dead.
Let's get back on track.
Right, we get
my notes. Hold on. We're so off track. Let me see my notes. Where are we? Who do you think the Falcons should take in the first round? Okay, yeah.
Okay, that's exactly where we was going. Oh, but he said I want somebody the boot strapped up. I need somebody. Lord Jesus. Okay, all right, we back. Who
should the Falcons take in the first round?
Who should the Falcons and the Lions take in the first round? That's the question.
Both of y'all should take QBs. I think that Atlanta, as someone speaking like I'm talking to both the Atlanta Falcons and the Detroit Lions, looking at them in third person, just being, y'all need to take quarterbacks, okay? Atlanta, stop messing around. You know what's happening here. Stop lying to yourself. This man is getting older. You're not going to be able to build a team fast enough around him before he starts falling off dramatically. You know it to be true. We all love Matt Ryan. Let's get out of our feelings. Stop this nonsense. Train a guy behind him or start a guy day one. But no matter what, this guy's going in the Ring of Honor. He's going in the Hall of Fame. We already know it. Just let's go ahead and just put this guy into our memory and go from there. All right, let's just move on. And Detroit Lions, look, I'm telling you right now, y'all need to be careful about falling into the pit trap, the quicksand here of, oh, everything's gonna be okay. We're just gonna make it through. We're just gonna make it through. Stafford, if we just put everything around him, if we just build a wall around Stafford, bruh, you're gonna end up with like an Andrew Luck, where Stafford goes, I'm so hurt and I'm so beat up and I'm so scared of the ghosts that don't actually exist that I'm gonna retire. Don't end up like the Indianapolis Colts with Andrew Luck, okay? Because Stafford is a fantastic quarterback. All right.
Repeat that again. We got a lot of blue pill fans who thinks that Stafford is the reason the Lions suck. Who think that Stafford?
I don't think the Lions suck because of Stafford. I think the team's broken. That's a broken team that needs real TLC, good love and tender salt and pepper. Okay.
Dr. Detroit says, Luke, listen to this, man. I've been saying the same thing, that the Lions need to draft a quarterback. Where I differ from you, Dr. Detroit, is I want him to learn and sit behind Stafford, because I want to give him a year of gathering things to build up for him. And by the time he's getting the game in year 2, I gather more things for him. I don't want to get him right now and toss him to the wolves. I just don't want to do that. I don't. I'm tired of people keep talking about this stupid thing called quarterback record. Ask me what is the quarterback record of Deshaun Watson. I mean, seriously. That guy played his butt off. Stafford has had seasons like that where he played his butt off, but he played his butt off, and they're 4-12. Like, come on, man.
Oh, and by the way, very quickly, to those of you that are kind of laughing that I was like, don't build around Stafford because he's going to retire. That's not how I mean that. How I mean it is, if you're going to build around Stafford, find a guy that's not Thomas Dimitroff. And find a guy that wants to really actually put major talent around Matt Stafford, or you're going to end up like the Atlanta Falcons.
That's why I want Elliott Wolf.
A year late.
That's why I want Elliott Wolf, because I want somebody who can put the talent around him. And the way I look at it is this. If you get a person who can evaluate talent and put talent on the team, at the very least, you're already ahead of the curve.
And if you're not going to build around Stafford, right, go get Thomas Dimitroff. He's going to get you a fine quarterback that's going to be there for 15 years. You're going to have a decent team. You're going to be a contender at several years through. You're going to have your ups and downs. And as long as you get a coach that knows what he wants,
watch this.
Is the full package.
I am praying that I'm wrong, but I keep watching these little statements that they made. The Lions president, I don't know what his Rod Wood's title at this point, but he basically said that the Lions are not a team that need a rebuild; they need retooling, and I agree with that. I don't think we need a rebuild; we need retooling, or as I call them, renovations. And when I look at the Phillies, I think they just need a few renovations as well. I think the biggest thing is they need to get players that can stay healthy. Like I wouldn't be mad if the Falcons fired their entire strength and conditioning team. Like how in the hell the injuries that the Falcons have every year are just unheard of.
Let's put it this way, Luke. Let's put it this way. Kind of one of the last questions that you wanted to ask me to stay on track. You were saying what is your biggest observation of the Lions as an outsider looking in?
Yes.
And as somebody on the outside looking into your organization, I see my own organization. I see the reflection of an organization from several years ago. Several years ago, the Atlanta Falcons were in the exact same situation that the Detroit Lions are currently right at this very moment. A quarterback that could get probably broken in half if they don't service this offensive line, they don't get a hard-nosed coach to come in. And we decided to bring in Dan Quinn and Kyle Shanahan. If you decide to go get Robert Saleh and Thomas Dimitroff and say your offensive coordinator is some young up-and-coming buck that wants to prove himself and show out, or some wily vet that wants to give off some things.
Right.
You guys might be in contention for the first 3 to 4 years and then have 5 to 6 years worth of crash and burn. So it really is all dependent on the hire. If you hire the right person, they're going to realize that we can make a few future moves and we can still win with this group. But if you make the wrong move, they're going to go, we don't need to, really build around this. We're just going to, get our own guy. Or they're going to make another terrible move, which is, we can win with this, but we're not going to make any major changes. We have some of the pieces we already need. And we're just going to roll with what we already got going on.
It's funny because, and let me kind of backpedal a little bit in terms of that first pick. Like I said, we both agree that they got to be a quarterback, but you're right. Getting the pick right, and getting the hire right is important. And it's one of the things that I preach a lot, which is I don't care where you draft, you got to get the pick right. Now, a lot of people are mocking us to take the Heisman Trophy winner, Devontae Smith. And I'm like, they take a receiver, and I'm promising y'all, I'm not covering the Lions. It's just not. it's like for the Lions. That's a luxury pick. That would be like the Falcons deciding that Julio's been fun, and we want to move on from Julio and just say, okay, cool. We got Calvin Ridley, but Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase. That's a different beast. And you're looking like, who is supposed to be the quarterback after? Like, no, you got to start to build for the future. Now, Dr. Detroit says Eugene knows his stuff. That this man have a channel. Absolutely, he does. It's called Unintentional Grounding, and he goes by the name of Lieutenant Dan. And if you check into my description, you can actually go and see. You can see his channel linked in my description. It's linked over in there, as well as my fellow DSA members. So let me speed this up because my children are giving me that I want food look, and I don't want to deny them of that. Let me ask you this question. We get right into it. This is obviously a pivotal moment for both our franchises. And obviously, we got quarterbacks that we would like to move on from. We share some opinions, we differ on others. But this question I never gave to you because I wanted to throw it out there to you, which is, when you look back on this past season, what do you think hurt this team more than anything else? And I'm talking about the Falcons and the Lions. What do you think hurt them more? Was it poor coaching, or was it player personnel and scheme?
Well, I don't know if there's really a difference between the two things that you said, because it's player personnel and scheme. I guess if you took scheme out, then player personnel.
Take scheme out. Let's leave it to player personnel and coaching. What hurt these teams more?
I think. Well, player personnel is going to actually be the one that encompasses the most, because coaching would imply it's just the system's fault. That you did everything that you could and the system may have been figured out, or, oh, well, we'll just have to find a new system to work with, something that, we can utilize these players better in that system. And that's also due to like clock management and all the other coaching aspects that you have to do, training your players and so on and so forth. But I think in Atlanta's case, it's more the actual coaches themselves and the players, so player and personnel.
Okay.
The coaches themselves are just not adequate, and they created a bad atmosphere, a bad culture, I guess, if you want to be a fan.
Go ahead, keep going. Preach.
But then, as far as the actual players are concerned, a lot of them are on the end of their rope. I mean, just age-wise, and they don't mix well with the system that they're trying to run. So the coaches themselves created a bad place and didn't train the players very well. So for the Falcons, it's more of a personnel, person-to-person interaction type of thing. And then for the Detroit Lions, it's just Patricia. It's just Patricia. This is a gotcha moment from the New England Patriots. I mean, it's just Patricia. It's just that's all it is.
Dude.
I mean, I'm not even memeing either. It's just like a guy that came in here. He ate like 5 different chili dogs a day, and he would come in. No, I'm not trying to make too much fun of him. Let's be honest. Patricia got in there, and he thought he could do what his mentor said he couldn't do, which was replicate what they were doing in New England. Well, New England doesn't replicate anybody else, so there's nothing set in stone for New England. New England is just depending on how you come out, we have the personnel to deal with you. And all our personnel are all about the same level in talent grade. And that means that you have to have the right coaches to train the players, which you guys don't. So unfortunately, tough luck and tough love here for you, Luke, but you didn't have the right coach. Not the right guy with the vision.
Listen, I know it. I listen, after the first season, I was done. I was done. And the fan base is like, dude, it's only one season. I said, nope, the Cardinals did it. We can do it too. Follow suit, move on, lock it up. It ain't what you thought it is. Patricia, it was too many people talking. The Lions never had that much media. We was getting media for stuff that we didn't even want media for. And to me, it did boil down to coaching. And so I'm going to answer just this question really quick, and then we can get out of here. He says, okay, so what happens if all four quarterbacks are gone and Pay or Parsons is not there? Do you really have another option? I do have another option, especially over receiver. But all four quarterbacks won't be gone. And that's where, because you got to ask yourself, first of all, if all four quarterbacks are gone, let's say somebody trades up, or let's say somebody decides to just
well, three of those quarterbacks are going to be gone because you're going to have Fields gone. You're probably going to have Lawrence gone at that point because who knows what the Jets are really thinking. But they say they want to keep him, and then they could trade him for a third-round pick in the offseason. We don't know. So
but if you
don't know what those two teams are doing there. And then the Dolphins probably going to trade out of that pick, bro. Like, come on, man. That's like the easiest trade the Dolphins have ever seen.
I'm gonna tell you why the Dolphins not gonna trade out of that pick. I'm gonna tell you why.
Enlighten me.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you why.
Let's do it.
If you go through and you look at the Dolphins right now, who are sitting at that third pick, that is a luxury pick for them. And right now they got Devontae Parker over there, right? Who's the other talented like tight end or receiver over there?
You're not suggesting that with the third pick in the NFL draft, the Dolphins take the most talented wide receiver or tight end, are you?
I'm suggesting that, and I'm suggesting
say that now. That's on the internet.
And I'm suggesting that they would even go as far as to as a secondary. If you're just hypothetically, obviously Lawrence goes to Jacksonville. Let's say the Jets decide to take a quarterback. They still are sitting up there with an opportunity to add an offensive lineman for a quarterback they already drafted the previous year. I can see that going down. So they got too many options that's on the board for what they need. I don't see that pick going anywhere. Now, let's say Atlanta takes a quarterback. That's three quarterbacks gone. We already know that the Bengals are not taking a quarterback. The Eagles are not taking a quarterback. So by the time the Lions pick, they'll still be in the top four of quarterbacks off rip. And so I don't see how all four quarterbacks could be gone.
Well, there are about 3 or 4 teams right behind you that would give up draft capital to move up and go and grab a quarterback and have somewhat competent teams already in their second year of rebuild, like the Panthers. The Panthers would love more than anything to be able to trade up to where the Dolphins are and then be, we got Trey Lance or we got Zach Wilson. And then Atlanta takes their quarterback potentially, being there at 4.
But the trades haven't been happening that much in those upper rounds like that. And I don't see Carolina.
Well, we haven't had any reason why you should trade up there in the last couple of drafts.
And that's a fair point.
Of the trades that have gone down, Luke, there have been plenty of teams that have turned down multiple trade offers just to see what the actual trade value of a pick of a player would be. We had that recently with not this past draft, but the draft before, I believe. It escapes me. But within the past 3 drafts, we've had a team like the Jets or something sitting up at the top, and they basically flirted the idea of they were going to trade out of their pick, but instead took their guy instead. Yeah. Just to see what the trade value would be, what they could get if they were up there.
Yeah, but
no one knows the value truly. It changes from year to year.
Yeah, but that's like Wonder Woman showing up to your house and smiling at you. It doesn't mean you're going to hit. You know what I mean? I'm trying to, I'm just saying that they're not making those trades, and that the Lions at 7 are sitting in prime. In my opinion, the Lions have a better chance of being a trade partner than the Panthers. And the Panthers.
I do agree. I don't think you're going to get Lance at 7. You're going to have to trade up because there's going to be teams that are going to want to trade to go get that spot. I truly believe that there are 3 teams that have the all-encompassing everything that we've talked about in this conversation. What makes Atlanta and Detroit very, very attractive? They're both within firing range of grabbing either one of the top 2 guys or one of the top 4 guys, either by trade up or where they currently sit now. And that is attractive in a lot of ways.
Now, it's funny because one of the things I've been seeing a lot of talks in the chat about trading down to get more picks. And this is why I went off when we traded for Everson Griffin. I'm like, dude, yeah, we had 6 picks before, but now we got 5, and now everybody wants more picks. And the reality is there's very few things we can trade to get value on. We can probably package up a deal with Carry-On and get some value, but even I don't even think that that's going to work. I'm just pointing out little things that I don't think going to happen, but that's what it is. Like I said, I don't want to keep Lieutenant Dan too long.
Yes.
So let's give you a final thoughts for the day.
Well, I don't have any major thoughts because we covered a lot, and I want to just thank everybody in the chat for following along and listening to us today. Make sure you guys smash that like button. This has been so fun, and I hope that you guys really enjoyed it. If you do, hit that like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Either way, it helps Luke grow his channel and get it better and have it more exposed. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to Luke's channel as well as mine at Unintentional Grounding. Hit me up, UNGR_show on Twitter and Instagram if you'd like to follow me over on those places. Make sure you hit Luke G Field Review up on Twitter as well. Give that man a awesome follow. The man is all Lions all day. Man, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much, Luke.
Absolutely. Again, let me answer this question really quick, though. Do you think with Saleh as head coach, we will pick up a pass rushing D tackle in the second round to help the pass rush? I think once they get the quarterback, everything is on the table after that. Here's my final thought for the day, people. Again, we are only a couple days into the new year, but that still means a new beginning, a time to do something different. So here's my challenge to you. Be kind to each other. Right now, there's a lot going on, and people are not seeing or showing their best selves. That don't mean you have to follow suit. I know imitation is the best form of flattery, but in this case, it's just not worth it. Rather than do all that, it makes more sense to probably show a better side of you and show what we could be versus what we are. At the end of the day, people, make sure that you go out there, look into my description, and hit that subscribe button on Mr. Unintentional Underground, a.k.a. Lieutenant Dan. And if you have not done so already, don't be no chump. Please do your research. We are out.